Hi, I'm Doug Thompson, and this is Waupaca Local Live. 1, 2, 3.
She had an eye for detail. She had a way with words. She had a mind that would not shut down. She had the sweetest voice I'd ever heard. She told me I had something. I wasn't sure what that meant, but we laughed and drank all over town. You know, the good times came until they went, and hey, that's okay. It's just another day. You can dream away your life, or you can dream your life away. We used to find her brother. He had a wife and kids. He ran around with us all night long. No, it's just the way he'd always lived. And then we brought him home one morning. The wife and kids were gone. By the rising sun's first light, we saw his stuff all over the lawn. But hey, that's okay. It's just another day. And you can dream away your life, or you can dream your life away. She was pretty good at poker. She knew how to bluff. She didn't win it all every time, but she always said she wanted enough. Sit out in her driveway, look for shooting stars, wishing we could find the time, but knowing it had gone too far. And hey, that's okay. It's just another day. You can dream away your life, or you can dream your life away. Sometimes when I'm sleeping, I'll see her in a dream. She's young and drunk and laughing, instead of older, drunk and mean. She'll smile and blow me kisses, and she'll fade away to black. Oh, I wish we could have been happy then. Gone and it won't come back, and hey, that's okay. You know, it's just another day. And you can dream away your life, or you can dream your life away.
to Waupaca Local Live. This is our August edition, and it's a special edition because it's in the middle of Arts Week. We call it Articulation Week. I call it Arts Week. And we were able to snag Doug Thompson, who lives in Carolina now because he defected, or maybe he was exported. I don't know all the details.
Statute of limitations is up, so yeah.
All right.
Now, yeah.
But anyway, so he planned his entire trip around the show, I believe,
I did.
right?
I did.
That's what I'm.
And
that's the story
my
I'm telling.
granddaughter's first birthday.
Right,
too.
right. Well, granddaughter, Waupaca Local Live. So anyway, we're really happy to have Doug here in the studio. Doug is a longtime Waupaca resident. We kind of pretend that he's actually from Waupaca.
Yeah, pretty
but
much.
I think you were from Janesville originally.
Racine originally,
Racine,
but
okay.
I hit Waupaca in middle school, so
Oh.
really, you know, it's that
Okay.
there's life before middle school and there's life after middle school, and it's never the same. So
That's true. That's true. All you parents out there, if you're in the middle of middle school, good luck. All right. They could turn out like Doug, which would be a good thing.
light
Okay.
a candle.
And Doug, so when did you move to Carolina?
2012.
2012. So how many years is that?
That's 11. Hey.
Okay, 11 years ago. 11 years ago. But prior to that, between middle school and when you moved, you played with a lot of different combos, and you played with these two guys.
I did.
And I think you guys were called Three Clowns No Circus,
Well,
but various other names, right?
Well, yeah. I got ex-wives that call me lots of things. It's kind of funny. I think Three Clowns No Circus has actually done more reunions than actual gigs.
Oh.
We were a band at this point. We played, what, 3, maybe 4 gigs in total?
Who's counting?
2 were okay, 1 was awful, and 1 was... So, and then I moved away, and so since then we've been doing these reunions, and we've probably done like 7 or 8 of those now. So.
But what's really cool about it is all of these guys play in a lot of different combos, and they're kind of like our Waupaca Mount Rushmore of local musicians. So we've got Geoff Cutts on my right, and super guitar player, also great keyboard player, but you don't do that too much anymore, do you?
Occasionally.
Occasionally?
Yeah.
Okay. We got Kevin Knopp over here on drums. He plays with lots of different combos. He's also a wonderful painter. And he is a local. Are you local? Were you raised here?
I was raised in Waupaca from grade 4 on.
Okay.
And lived in Arizona for a while with my parents, and moved away to New York. Well, I went to school in La Crosse and lived in New York 3 years, then kind of came back and
Okay.
stayed here for the most part.
Waupaca's your home.
Yeah.
So this is a really great combo, and thank you, Doug, for pulling everybody together.
Oh, it was easy.
And it's awesome to have you guys on the show. Really, really exciting. So, Doug, let's get down to it.
Oh, no.
My first question
Stormy
I-
Daniels, I knew it.
Yeah, Stormy. What's the deal with Stormy Daniels? No.
You know, she asked, I said, okay. You know,
What I love about Doug is he's also very funny. And little known fact, he was actually on the Arts Board for a while.
I was.
Until we blew his speaker.
yeah, you blew up my speaker, and
Blew up his
I
speaker,
quit
and
in
he's
anger.
like, "That's it."
Well, I didn't quit in anger. I just needed to go get another job so I could buy another speaker.
Yeah.
Didn't have time
All
to do
right.
it.
So, Doug, I wanted to know, when did you first start playing music or getting interested in music? Did you take lessons? Did your parents want you to do it? Did they not want you to do it? Tell me what that child history of your music is.
All of that stuff. I was in 4th grade, and I was living in Racine then, and they had an orchestra program that started with 4th grade, and they brought these string instruments in to show the class, and I saw the bass fiddle, and I was like, I want to play the bass fiddle. And so I started playing the bass fiddle when I was about 10. And I did that right up through 7th grade, and then we moved to Waupaca where they had no string program.
And they
So
sort of have one now, but sort of not. But it's inching forward. Okay, anyway.
Jerry Kniffel decided to do Fiddler on the Roof as the musical, and the orchestral part had a bass violin part. So Buzz Hofer, the band director, was gonna like plunk around on the bass and give it that feel. And I went in for choir practice one day, and I saw this bass violin in the corner, and I went, hey, I can play that bass violin. And Hofer went, "You can?" And I said, "Well, yeah, sort of." He said, "Show me." And I showed him, and he immediately got my schedule changed so I could play in the jazz band. And
Nice.
and then I started, and I didn't have a teacher, though, because nobody knew how to play the bass. I knew more than anybody, and I was what, 15, and so it was like, I kind of taught myself a lot of that stuff, and I was getting pretty good on the bass, and then in my early 20s I cut my hand off, and it was reattached, but the fingers are stiff and don't bend, and so my bass playing suffered greatly, and that's when I started gravitating towards. Well, first of all, I spent about 15 years in a black hole of depression. But after I got out of that, I started writing songs, and a lot of them were really sad, and then they got happier, and here I am today.
Wow. Okay, so wait a minute. I want to rewind to you cut your hand off. I thought, and sort of that you were kidding, but
No,
you really did cut your hand off.
I really did cut
And they
my hand
reattached it?
They reattached.
That
Dr.
is
Kim Luloff, I
amazing.
think he's gone now, but he did a great job. He did a
That
great
is
job.
amazing. So you weren't able to do a lot of fancy.
No, I couldn't do that at all
Yeah.
anymore. My thumb is the only digit that has any kind of feeling.
Okay, hold
at
your
all.
hand up and let's see. Wow.
He set this finger so I could pick a guitar with it, which was a brilliant move on his part.
Okay.
But these fingers are all stiff, and there's no feeling in them.
Okay, so you use a pick?
No, I can't hold one because I have no feeling in this
Oh,
finger.
wow.
So, yeah.
That is an amazing story. And you still wanted to play music. That's
Oh,
awesome.
absolutely, yeah. It drove me nuts to not be able to play, and so I
So
figured
you
out
picked up
something
the
new, yeah.
guitar
Yeah.
and
I'd
started
always
learning
messed around on the
chords?
guitar a little bit. I played fingerstyle, oddly enough, which also I couldn't do, but I did figure out a way to do this thumb and forefinger kind of thing, and it works out okay. I'm not a virtuoso, but I wanted to write songs, and after I really couldn't play the bass very well anymore, I had more time, and so I got more serious about writing songs, and I think I was probably 35 before I wrote a song that I really think is any good, and they
Okay.
came few and far between, but it's something I've just worked really hard at all along, and,
Okay.
and kept trying to do better.
All right, so tell us the name of that first song that you did when we opened the show.
That's called Dream Your Life Away.
Dream Your Life Away. I like that little cadence. Tell us the chorus, the words in the chorus, the two flip words.
I can't remember now.
Live your life away.
It starts with hey, hey, hey.
Yeah.
Pretty clever, I thought. Because then it rhymes with that's okay.
There you go.
It's just another day. You can dream away your life, or you can dream your life away. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird how when you flip those words, they mean the opposite.
Kind of,
That's
yeah.
what I was thinking when you were singing it, and I thought that was so clever.
Oh, shucks.
Yeah, that was really cool. Did you guys think that was clever? Yeah. Oh my gosh. All right.
And also, just as a side note, that's probably the most Waupaca song I've written ever. So.
What do you mean by the most Waupaca song?
I mean,
'Cause we're all
there's
clever?
probably people all over town that would recognize some of those events.
Okay. All right, and where can we find your music?
I've got a live record that's on all the streaming services. It's called "It Was a Good Plan" live at the Evening Muse, and it's on Spotify and all of those streamings, Amazon.
Okay.
CD Baby. You can buy a stream copy, and then I have a second record that I was a genius. I decided to record it, and it finished up just in time to be maybe released in 2020.
Oh,
which,
that's you have a COVID story. This is your COVID
2020
story.
was pretty bad. Yeah, so I couldn't. I had a great regular gig, and I thought, okay, I'm going to do this album, and then I can use the money I'm getting from this regular gig to package it and get it out there on streaming. So I blew all my money on recording the thing, and then COVID hit, and I didn't have any money at all to do anything with it. So I had to sit on it for a while, and finally I said, I like the music, and I'm never going to get rich. So I recorded it on CDR, and I'm selling them for $5 a copy. John Ryan's got some over at the bookseller, and it's just a disc and a sleeve. All the money is in the music, and it sounds really good, and I'm really proud of the songs and proud of the recording. And if you don't buy one, I don't care, because it's also available for free on SoundCloud. You've got SoundCloud.
You're not supposed to
Go
say
on
that.
there and find it. Because, I'm a 66-year-old man, and I am not going to get rich off this music, but I would like people to hear the music if they want to. And so it's out there and available. And I mostly did both those records for my grandkids, so someday, they might want to, hey, my granddad was crazy, but he didn't do meth. Listen to this.
Nice. Are you going to do anything off of that CD tonight?
I
Or not? I mean, no pressure.
can't
Just
remember.
wondering.
I think definitely over at Simpsons we're gonna.
Okay.
No, oddly
Okay,
enough,
so,
these are all.
so
new
what's your
things.
next song going to be?
My next song is it's called "I'm a Cat."
I'm a cat. All right.
I'm not really a cat. I'm like that lawyer in that.
Yeah.
If I don't know if you know,
That was
I'm not really
funny.
a cat, Your Honor. But no, it's a song about being a cat and
Okay.
catness.
All right. Let's hear another one from Doug Thompson. Woohoo!
Thank you so much. As I mentioned, we have 3 cats. The thing I love about cats is their arrogance. Cats don't care. In fact, my cat Sid helped me write this song. I was sitting in my office one morning just looking out the window, and Sid comes strutting in, hops up on the table, and one swipe of his paw, he knocks my pen to the floor. And then he flops down on my notebook and he looks up at me and he says, and this is a direct quote, he says, "Get this crap off of my table. Why is my table always full of your stuff? Hey, I know I like to lay here when the sun's just right, flick my tail and groom my fluff. I like to groom my fluff. And there's a birdie outside the window, eating seeds and getting plump. He's lucky there's glass and screen between us. I could get him with just one jump. Let me spell it for you. M is for me. E is for everything is mine. O is for, oh, that's mine too. W, well, meow, I'm a cat. What do you think about that? Meow, I'm a cat. What do you think about that? Goes on. I was a god to the Egyptian pharaohs, four-legged ruler of the Nile. I ate the fattest rodents, fish from the river. My purr made Cleopatra smile. Oh yeah, I made the girls smile. And those ancient hieroglyphics on the walls of the Great Pyramid, tales told in those pictures all say, look at what the cat done did. I'll spell it for you. M is for me. E is for everything is mine. O is for, oh, that's mine too. W, well, meow, I'm a cat. What do you think about that? Meow, I'm a cat. What do you think about that? Pussyfoot around here.
things get real. I have been patient with you, human. I know that you are just a man. But the time has come, use those opposable thumbs and open up a can. I want my breakfast now. Meow, meow. I'm a cat. What do you think about that? Well, I'm a cat.
Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Oh my gosh, I love that song. I don't really like cats that much. I'm a dog person, but that was incredible. So you talk about your grandkids and how you're doing this for your grandkids, and I think, wouldn't it be great to have your grandpa do a song about cats? That's just really cool. Do they like it, or have you heard it?
The 10-year-old really isn't too impressed with me.
Okay, well.
And the 1-year-old, she likes everything I do, so
Well, there you go.
she's kind of a smiley little thing. So I
All right, and what I really liked about that was just how tight the three of you are together, even though you're living in Carolina and you guys are up here.
and I taught the song to them yesterday. So.
Oh my gosh. Well, you're an extraordinary musician, so I imagine that you can make it look like you're tight, right? Isn't he? He's just something. He's just really something. And the beautiful tone that you get out of that instrument, and it's just, and you're barefoot, which is cool. I love that.
I discovered Geoff, by the way.
Did you discover him?
Yeah,
You're trying to get
You went all to Doug.
No, I did. He was playing with Paula Slow, as was I. And I thought he was like 25 years old, and I met his mother, who's a wonderful woman, who I actually had a big crush on. She,
I don't want to hear about that.
well, neither was Geoff.
Right.
But she busted him. She said, "Oh yeah, my baby, he just turned 18 today." He had the beard even then.
Oh, wow.
So I've known Geoff. I've known Geoff since he was a baby, and I also am responsible for Geoff and Del Wheat hooking up because they met at the Wheelhouse Jam that I used to host.
Nice.
And out of that arose the Desperate Autos. And I just want to say something really quick about Del and Geoff and Matt, who has also been with them a long time. To have a band together for 20 years under any circumstances is not easy.
That's
and
right.
the fact that those guys have been doing it and doing it so well, and it's hard work, and Del's even older than I am, and so I know what the back feels like. And anyway, I just think it's amazing that and Kevin is playing with a bunch of different bands, and the fact that these guys still play so much music is really incredible.
Yeah,
but
it is great.
I'm a huge Desperados and Del Wheat and the Sweet Rollers fan.
Yeah.
So I try to catch those guys too whenever I'm in town. But
Well,
it's just
Del is like-
all the music in town here.
Del's like the hardest, he's the hardest working musician
Absolutely.
in Waupaca.
Absolutely.
He's got so many groups and so many Facebook pages.
He does. It's hard
Yeah.
to keep track.
And Kevin, playing a United States Postal, is that legal?
No, in fact, this is actually maximum penalty for theft or misuse, which I'm sure
Okay.
this is.
I'm sure you borrowed it. You didn't steal
Postal
it.
property is $1,000 fine and 3 years imprisonment. So, Louis DeJoy, hopefully you can pardon me someday.
Wow. You're in big trouble because we're on the air.
I know.
Oh my gosh. Well, let's hold the police off to the end of the show.
Okay, sounds good.
right.
Well, I love the sound.
But you make it sound great. I mean, I love the way that sounds.
thank you.
And I can see you're playing all over it to get maximum effect. And it's got ridges on it, so you're able to get some more, like, percussive.
It's actually, it has more resistance for the brushes than a snare drum does with a coated head,
Awesome.
which I use brushes a lot because I play jazz with the Snack Bar Flamingos.
Yeah.
And I use brushes a lot with the band Orphans and Doug, too. But
Nice.
yeah, it's cool. I started playing boxes when I went to Vermont for studying art, and I couldn't bring a drum set along, but I had musician friends there who were in the program. So I'd find
Okay.
boxes, I'd bring a pair of brushes along and play with my friends there. And then when Doug and Geoff and I started kind of messing around with Three Clowns No Circus, I think we did several shows at Liz and Treb's Gallery where I played boxes.
Nice.
We did one show.
One show? I thought there was more.
Several.
It just seemed like a lot.
We only did 3 gigs, Kevin.
Doug, the voice of reason. So Doug's got a couple CDs, Live at the Evening Muse.
Yes,
Is that
ma'am.
correct? And Common Sins.
Common
that's
Sense
your
is the
COVID
one that's available from me, or John Ryan's
Okay.
got them there, or it's free on the internet.
And Doug was also awarded the Summit Coffee Songwriter of the Year in 2018. Lives in Indian Trail, North Carolina, with 3 cats, hence the cat song, and his wife, whom he loves. That's wonderful. All right, so what do you got for us next, Doug?
This is a song called Stars and Satellites.
Okay. Nice summer theme.
Yeah, it's a cheerful little ditty. I'm not. I've said this before. I'm not a big cause person. You know, I believe in all of them. I want everybody to be happy and healthy. But mental health is something that I've had some experience with, and I've also seen in my professional life. And I used to do. I used to work with developmentally disabled folks, and as I had mentioned earlier, I alluded to, I had a pretty bad stretch dealing with depression, and Dr. Jim Robinson, R.I.P. I believe Jim's gone, but he really did. He did a lot for me and helped me, and probably saved my life. So I just hope that people realize that there shouldn't be a stigma attached. And depression's a real thing, and it can really hurt and kill. And so anybody who hears this and has got some depression going on, you should probably talk to somebody. Yeah.
You know, the weird thing, and I guess it's not really weird, but almost every show when we have musicians, and we have musicians that are doing original music, so they're pouring their heart into the music for everybody and for themselves, but almost everybody mentions mental health. That's a musician, and I find that fascinating. I think it's interesting.
You know a lot of musicians, right?
Well, I do.
Well, it's not much of a stretch, folks. You know, it's we're a crazy breed. I'm just going to say that. And well, you tend to think a lot. You tend to internalize things. You tend to worry about things. You tend to you can drive yourself crazy. And I'm not even trying to be funny with that expression. It's just, but a lot of musicians, artists are depressive kind of personalities as it is, and introverts, and you know, all those kind of things can really affect your mental health. And,
we could do a whole show on this topic with the arts, and you know, we can either look at it as, I guess when we say mental health problems, we think it's negative, but when you think about who's doing these creative things, their minds are way, way open, and they're just, you know, really making a lot more different connections and taking those thoughts and putting them into action, whether it's musical or dance or writing or music. And I think that just opens you up to it. And maybe it's also that people get a lot of therapy out of expressing themselves artistically.
And that can help as well. Sure.
I agree. All right, so we're going to hear Stars and Satellites from Doug and 3 Clowns No Circus.
I was lost, but I didn't care where I was. So maybe I was never lost at all. I got loose and reckless, the way a man does just before he hits the wall. I felt the wind and the rain and the snow, and sometimes the sun came out, but it was hard to see it shining those clouds of doubt. I was stealing wrong. I just didn't care what was right. I got bad at being good. I proved it every night. I cheated my lovers. I found out I was really just cheating myself. And that's the kind of knowledge you can't learn from all the books on all the shelves. And I'll ride until I lose the sun. Then I'll ride into the night, underneath a sky that's full of stars and satellites. Stars and satellites. I'm sitting here drunk AF. I'm thinking I should just go home. If I had a home to go to, that's where I would go. That's where I would go. That's where I would go, but I'll ride until I lose the sun. Then I'll ride to the night, underneath the sky that's full of stars and satellites. Stars and satellites. Stars and satellites.
Oh, that was beauty. Again, you guys are super tight. I don't know how you do it.
That's
Long
another one they
distance
learned
like that.
last night. So
Yeah, amazing musicianship. That's what it is. All right, I want to just talk a little bit about your songwriting process. This is our last talking section, so I like to make sure that we talk about that because that's really what this is all about, is just writing these songs and being able to not only write them, but perform them and get them out there. So where do your songs come from? A lot of your songs are stories. And so I think you're kind of one of those people that's also a writer, you make up these really great stories. They're not all like real life, right? Or am I wrong?
absolutely, and when I was younger, I wrote everything it was all about myself, and that gets really boring really fast. Because that one girl can only break your heart about 40 times, and after that, it starts getting old. So, yeah, I started. I eavesdrop a lot.
Be warned.
You look at stuff. You'll hear things. Something might happen to you, and you can take that and over dramatize it. You know, you can make something. A little spat with your wife about dishes can turn into some, kind of,
Oh my gosh.
horrible, bitter revenge thing. That really has nothing to do with that. And I'm lying because that's never happened. But you can take, you want to write about things that you feel and know. Otherwise, they sound fake and phony, right? You end up with the night the lights went out in Georgia, and none of those people were ever in Georgia to shoot anybody, and if they were, they'd realize that Georgia and lawyer don't even rhyme. So, I mean, I always want it to be believable. I don't want anything to smell phony, right down to if I'm using a name in a song, I don't want a convenient rhyme with the name, like Yoo-Hoo and Dan McGrew or something, it's, I really like to try to have it sound like this is something that could have happened, even if it isn't something that happened,
Do you do any story writing or poetry
No,
as
I've
well, or
messed
is
with
it
that.
all in music?
I've messed with that. I've little poetry here and there, but really nothing worth anything. I'll occasionally write a recitation piece. Like I've got a piece on common sins. It's called "Dressed Like a Clown," and it's all spoken word. But mostly no. I just write.
You're writing in music.
Yeah, and I try to make it rhyme. But if it doesn't rhyme, that's okay too. Because you want to be honest. If you can make it rhyme, great. But I'd rather. As an old line, somebody said it, never give the truth away to rhyme. So try to, just try to make it honest. And that's really what I try to do. And I know I fail. I'm not always great at it, but I work really hard at it.
So do you write songs purposely? Like you have like writing time that
No.
you, okay, so you're just basing it on inspiration?
Something's got to come to me.
Something comes to you?
And if
So
it's
you have a muse
inconvenient,
type thing?
I'll jot it down on the phone and get
Okay.
back to it if it's a certain, if a line comes to me or something. But no, I'm not someone who can just sit down. And I know people that do that.
Well, it's just all different ways of doing it.
Yeah,
I'm
there's no
not
right way, for
implying that
sure.
anything is better or worse. I'm always curious as to what people's process
And I
is.
envy the people that can I've got this 3-hour block, I'll make some coffee and I'll sit down and I'll write things that are worthwhile, and it doesn't happen with me too often.
Okay,
at
so
all.
you're mostly going on what your muse or what your inspiration
Yeah,
is.
I'll get an idea. I'll see.
Okay.
This last song that I'm going to do, not to hurry it along, but is exactly that. I saw an article. I was reading an article, a news article, and it triggered something. So.
Okay, so when you, oh my gosh, I almost forgot what I was going to say, but when you're writing your songs, are you, what comes first, the lyrics or the music, or it's never one or the other, it just depends?
Almost always the lyrics.
Okay.
And sometimes
Because you seem like a very lyrical person.
Yeah, definitely. That's
Yeah.
I steal all my music. I'm a folk singer. I can't write notation. I can't write out music. And occasionally a melody will come to me, and maybe it's original, or maybe I stole it. I don't know. And if I find out I stole it, I go, dang, and then I have to change. You can change parts, little bits here and there, and it's not stolen anymore. So.
Do you ever have that moment when you think you've written the song,
Absolutely.
you're like, this is a great song, and then it's like, oh crap,
This is hilarious.
did I hear that somewhere? And then you got to call everyone you know. Did you ever hear this before?
Well, no, 2 years ago, it happens at home. 2 years
Yeah.
ago, I said, hey, Shelley, listen to this. This is kind of a cool chord progression. And I played a chord progression. What do you think? And she goes, yeah, I really liked it when you wrote it 2 years ago on that other song.
You even stole songs from yourself.
Absolutely.
That's so funny. Do you ever collaborate with anybody when you're writing
I've co-written
songs?
some.
Okay.
A lot of times what happens is I'm, especially down in North Carolina, I've got a few friends that I know and will occasionally. I'm kind of a song doctor. Like a guy, I need a bridge. I'm going to call Thompson, and so he'll call me up, and maybe I can help there a little bit, or. But then I've got another friend who will send me lyrics and actually have me write the music for it, and that's kind of a little interesting thing to do too sometimes. So, but yeah, there's a few. I'd still rather write by myself. Like Steve Earle said that songwriting is like a cat having kittens. You should just crawl under the porch and just do it yourself. So
That's funny. Yeah, and again, there's all different ways to do
but
it.
there
That's
is.
Your
and
comfort is doing
I've
it
had
yourself.
I've had a couple of David Childers and I co-wrote a couple and ended up recording one of them on one of his records, and the other one is on Common Sins record. So that was a real fruitful collaboration.
That's cool.
Yeah, but it's fun to do. It's fun to bounce ideas off similar-minded folks.
So down in North Carolina, where you are, North Carolina,
Nice
right?
accent. Yes, ma'am.
Not South Carolina, okay.
Barely. Our Charlotte area is like right on the border.
Right on the border.
South Carolina, yeah.
So you're playing a lot of music down there?
As kind of as much as I want to. I'm not a crazy road dog, and I've got back issues, so
Okay.
I don't. But anywhere from 2 to 5 times a month, maybe.
Okay, that's a lot.
It's a great
That's a lot.
songwriter scene down there. There's a
Yeah.
lot. They have a lot of the old Nashville round style. We have 3 songwriters and
Okay.
just sit for a couple hours. Each
Now
do
you
a
guys
song.
didn't you just do that up at Odin and Fried's?
Yeah, that was a little slightly different. We each did a set
Okay.
instead of alternating songs, but similar kind of thing. And that was a lot of fun. With Dell and Rhino Coons. That's,
Yeah, those guys write a lot of songs too.
They
you
do.
3 together is sort of trouble, I think.
It could be.
I don't know if I can.
I don't
authorize
drink
that.
anymore, so I'm really pretty docile. I might eat a cheeseburger.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I wish we could talk longer, but we got to end this somehow.
That's right.
And we're going to end it with your last song. And what is the name of this last song?
This last song is called "The Ballad of Andy Dick."
Okay. We heard some
I
reaction.
heard a
from-
groan. Well, it's funny. The first time I played this song in Charlotte, I finished it, and everybody had their phones out, and they were Googling who Andy Dick was. So Andy Dick, he just didn't handle his 15 minutes of fame too well, and I mentioned it was last winter. I ran across a news article where Andy Dick had been arrested again, and I just thought he deserves this song. So
Aw, that's very kind of you.
I'm a kind person.
All right, I know that about you. All right, one more round of applause for this wonderful group.
The Ballad of Andy Dick. Andy Dick came from Illinois. That's where he got the acting bug. He was pretty good at drama. He was great at doing drugs. Skinny and obnoxious, a monster on a bench. Not much better when he was sober, violent and unhinged. Andy Dick. Andy, go on home. Your mama's crying. Your daddy can't stop pacing the floor. And you're as far as you can get from the town of Joliet. Or maybe you don't care anymore, 'cause you're Andy Dick. Andy Dick was not that funny. He was kind of like Tom Green, who was also not that funny, but it was maybe less mean. Andy Dick ran out of money, but he kept on getting drugs. And now he lives out on the street where no one cares that he once was Andy Dick.
pacing the floor, and you're as far as you can get from the town of Joliet. Or maybe you don't care anymore, 'cause you're Andy Dick. And now the moon shines bright on a cloudless winter night. The air is like frozen breath. Good night, Andy Dick, wherever you are. We got tired of you, I guess. Thanks so much. Thanks, you guys.